let's drift to this. This is a case I've got to admit I'm fascinated with. It's in Australia. It's a woman who's on trial for the murder of 3 people who died after consuming a lunch that she allegedly poisoned with mushrooms. Now, she pleads not guilty, but let me just take you through this because it's an extraordinary story. So, have a look. This is the suspect here in court as of today, Erin Patterson, all right? So she cooks this sort of mushroom dish. That's her ex-husband, Simon Patterson. He wasn't there. The dish is beef Wellington and it's got these poisonous mushrooms in. They'll be a big part of the story. Death cap mushrooms, out of season. Her son and daughter didn't eat the mushrooms. He luckily missed the lunch. She didn't eat the beef Wellington. She's fine. But have a look. The meal that she prepared, how dangerous it was. Father-in-law dead, mother-in-law dead. The sister of the mother-in-law dead, and her husband better now, but was in a critical condition. So that was a lot of poisonous mushroom. Now, what's the case against her? She was renting this house, and firstly, sinister markings on the wall about death. That's one thing. Secondly, allegedly, 2 other attempts to kill. This is her arriving, having a lot of press attention. 2 other attempts to kill her husband, allegedly. And the big thing against Erin is this, the food dehydrator, because the point about death cap mushrooms is this, that they were out of season. Now, the only way you can keep them for long enough, you pick them in summer, you keep them in winter, is by using a food dehydrator. They are used to dry out vegetables for cooking at a later time. She disposed of one after the deaths. It was found on a local tip. And it's not surprising she's not answering questions here. So, you two, this morning, you were just getting into this story, right? Are you convinced now that it's the crime story of the year?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think the biggest thing against her is if you can't get these mushrooms in at the time, and that she's frozen them or kept them somewhere or dehydrated them and then used them. But, you know, what the stupid thing is, how did she think she was going to get away with it? 4 people died at dinner. Well, 3 died, 1's critical at her dinner table.
Well, it's a natural... She says, look, I love a beef Wellington. Yeah. I like the mushrooms are good.
She didn't eat it.
I think disposing of the dehydrator is bad. And by the way, I said she'd allegedly tried to kill her husband twice before. Well, I'm told it's 3 times.
That's a bit of a go.
But she is pleading not guilty. So our minds are open. My Australian friend, Kumi Taguchi, in case she's watching, says that the whole country's obsessed.
I'd say...
Obsessed with this case.
She ain't covering her tracks that well, potentially.
No.
But also, so what is her argument? They're like, oh, yeah, I put mushrooms in it because that's what you do. They just happen to be poisonous.
The defence is, well, I mean, that's what... Exactly. You put mushrooms in beef Wellington.
Yeah.
And I accidentally picked death cap mushrooms.
Interesting, the family...
Yeah.
6 months earlier.
In summer. This is the problem. The dehydrator is the problem. That's going to be a big feature. But look, because she's pleading not guilty, we're going to have the whole thing's going to play out in court. So,
and do we know how she tried to kill her husband twice or 3 times before?
Yeah, I've read. I can't remember the details. I don't think it was as obvious as sort of using a sword or something. But there were. I think one of them was definitely an alleged poisoning because he was death's door for a while.
Well, she's clearly not keen on the family.
No. Well, I think they'd fallen out. Let's just say that. So anyway, she does maintain her innocence, I think we should say. And
when the court
usually
case
the phrase is strenuously denied. The court case starts today.
Well, you've got to keep everyone abreast now.
Well, listen,
now you've whipped up this kind of...
If viewers are interested in this case, we'll be delighted to update it daily. Of course we would, like this morning you hadn't heard of this, and now you're totally into it.
I do want to know, because she's not going to get away with it, but I do want to hear her defence, because it's going to be fast.
Well, look, we're trying to keep it even-handed. I said... She pleads her innocence, and you just say she's not going to get away with it.
She's not, is she? She's just not.
All right, Carol, that's it. Stop digging.